Intro Algebra Lesson 4-3b. Alright, last time we were discussing the idea and the concept of an x-intercept and a y-intercept. If you want to find the x-intercept, you know that anytime you're on the x-axis, your y value is always equal to 0. So you can plug 0 in for y and then solve for x, and that will give you your x-intercept. If you want the y-intercept, you know that anytime you're on the y-axis, your x value is equal to 0. So if you want the y-intercept, you plug 0 in for x and you solve for y, and that will give you your intercept. We can actually use that method to make our graphs. Because those coordinates are on the equations, a minimum number of 2 points are needed. It's a very simplistic way of finding an actual graph. So here's an equation, negative 4x plus 3y is equal to 24, and we want to find the x and y intercepts and then use it to make our graph. So first off, let's start with x-intercept. If we want the x-intercept, then we know that we're going to put 0 in for y. That's the beginning. We know that. So now we have negative 4x plus 3 times 0 is equal to 24. Well, the 3 times 0 is going to make it all go away, and you're left with negative 4x equals 24. You divide by negative 4. We finish off with x equals negative 6. So that's my x-intercept. Then I've got to find the y-intercept. My y-intercept basically goes like this. Means to put 0 in x. So we're going to plug 0 in for x. So now we have negative 4 times 0 plus 3y equals 24. The negative 4 times 0 gets rid of that. 3y now equals 24. Divide both sides by 3. And we finish up with y equals 8. Now here's the biggest mistake that gets made. People take the negative 6 and the 8 and they think it combines to make one coordinate, which it does not. These are two different points. This is the x-intercept, which is its own specific spot. This is the y-intercept, which is its own specific spot. The x-intercept, you need to go out to negative 6. So it's right here. That's the x-intercept right there. The y-intercept is at 8, which is up here. And all that's left to do is draw a line between them. So that is my graph that represents that equation. And all I used were my x and y intercepts. As mentioned, people like to try to put them together and then think that this is what they have. This dot is not going to help you graph. You need two different points in order to make the graph. So be very careful about that. You watch your signs, and that's a very minimalist amount that you need. You need a minimum of 2 points to make a graph. So again, plug 0 in for y gives you the x-intercept, which is a very specific spot. Plug 0 in for x, which gives you the y-intercept, which is a very specific spot. And then you connect the two, and you have a graph that represents this equation. And any point on this purple line would work in this equation. That's what that is. That graph represents all the possible answers. It goes on for infinity in both directions, which is why it has arrows. So all the answers that continue that way would also work in that equation.